Are you watching this video right now and instead of being at home, you're trucking and you're being over the road and you're crying that you didn't have home time? Well, guess what? You've been caught in the lie by a trucking company. Stay tuned. Hello YouTube, hello my dear audience. I'm Eddie V, welcome to my channel, and I have been a truck driver for over 4 years right now, and I can successfully tell you the lies trucking companies personally tell you, and you can get caught in them without not even knowing it, based on my experience of trucking and also of what I heard from other people, but mainly my experience. The first one I want to go over with, guys, is home time. Almost every trucking company out there, unless they're really good, lie about home time. Let's just say, for example, in my experience, one time I just started out, I just got my first job as a trucking company. They told me after every trip you get minimum of 2 to 4 days of home time. That wasn't the case. Right away after one trip, they sent me back out the next day for another 2-week over the road trip. Companies do lie about home time. If they do not lie about home time, they press on you when you're at home and keep bugging you, calling you on when you can actually be out working. Can you come 5 days early or whatever it is? If you want home time, go to a company that actually respects when you get home time. But a lot of times, companies, if they want to make money, they want that truck running, because if the trucks don't run, they don't make any money. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna lie about home time, give you maybe 10 hours home time, and tell you gotta go back out on the road. And especially if you're a new driver, you do not want to get fired, you actually probably will accept and go back out trucking. Second topic I want to talk about is pay. Yes, lots of companies lie about pay. When I first started trucking, I was looking around for a trucking company back then. Top paid drivers were at 50-55 cents a mile, and once inflation hit, everything went up to 70 cents a mile for most trucking companies. But as a new driver, I was expecting to at least get 41 cents a mile. Needless to say, I have met companies that I was applying for offering me 25 cents a mile, pay that only Sprinter drivers get, and they're like, well, you're gonna rise up in the company. The more you drive, the more you're saved, the better. I mean, yeah, it's true, but honestly, what companies can do once that you agree to that pay, they can lock you in that pay for years, and you're gonna be lied to about ever going up in pay. And also what they do is lie in pay. Sometimes they take money from your paycheck due to some little bump you had, like a little accident, little like bumping something, damaging equipment, or simply for the fact that sometimes companies either are poor and can't pay you straight up and tell you, well, I'll pay you after the next trip or next week, or sometimes they're just greedy for money and do not want to pay. My advice, unless it's family, do not ever say, yes, I can wait another week before you pay me. Do not, because that is when basically you lose your money. Now, if it comes to that situation where they ask, here's what I'll do. If they cannot pay you, just leave. Hire a lawyer or somebody so that they can pay you right away before the rest of the company catches on that they're not getting paid. But when you first hear that, hey, I can only pay you in 2 weeks, leave that company right away, because 2 weeks will become a year sometimes. Third thing I want to talk about is forced dispatch, and that comes with 2 topics. I mean, like in this forced dispatch. First one is the type of freight you want to haul. It depends. Like if you're driving, you really don't have any choice. If you don't want to, the only exception is like if you find out it's heavy paper rolls, then you're like, nah, I don't want to do that because it's dangerous actually. Or second, if you're doing step deck and you don't want a tarp load or something like that, and you're being forced to do it, because I mean, if you're doing step deck flatbed, you are basically supposed to be a specialist and you're supposed to know how to tarp. But sometimes us step deck and flatbed drivers, which is what I did, we get tired of tarping every single load. So we want to break, and we don't like being forced to tarp on a load that we have to tarp all the time, especially if for the past 4 times we have tarp. And also is being forced to dispatch on where you're driving. Like in my experience, for example, I could definitely say that I do not like East Coast. my boss one time called me and asked me, he's like, I got a really good paying load in East Coast. Do you want to take it? I've never been to East Coast. I'm like, sure, why not? Just for giggles, you know, let's just go to East Coast. And I'm like, I'm going to do this once for you. And after that, I won't go up there because I heard there's bad stories. Yes, there's traffic everywhere, tight areas everywhere, especially in New Jersey. After that, I said no more. But guess what? Without even asking me, he would book a load to East Coast. I'm like, why did you book it? Now I have no choice but to take it. It's like, oh, there's no good paying loads. I'm like, you should have asked me first. I would rather wait an extra day to go to Texas rather than hit an East Coast, because first of all, I know East Coast is bad and you're not getting all the mileage that you want so you can get paid, and you're just wasting your time a lot up there. I'd rather run. Like, just go west or go to Chicago back and forth. Like, you're going to run a lot of miles. Going East Coast, just a waste of time. So that's what I meant by forced dispatch. They like to force it on you, giving you loads that you don't want to do, or going to areas that you don't want to go. That's what happened to me. I kept saying, I don't want East Coast, I don't want East Coast. That wasn't happening. He was always sending me to East Coast instead of where I wanted to go. Now, other lies companies do tell you, that hasn't happened to me because I have never ever ran into the situation. I ran the miles I usually wanted to if I was paid on mileage, and if I was doing regional, I knew what my pay would be because I wasn't lied to, and I was fine with the fact that I ran those kind of miles. But a lot of companies will lie to you about how many miles, especially Western Express does that a lot. They, instead of they pay by mile, but they don't pay by mileage on the odometer. They pay area code mileage, which means straight air mile mileage. So if it's 50 miles from a certain city to the next city in a straight line, that's all you're getting. You're not getting the 70 miles you drove from this city to that city because the roads are not straight. So companies will lie to you about the mileage or how many loads you can do a week. They often do that, and they're like, well, sorry, we can't pay your bonus because you didn't get this load, haha. So they do that a lot. They'll lie to you about how many miles you travel, especially if you're a newbie. What's going to happen is, because you're new, you're not going to get all the miles that you want, and they're going to lie to you because when you first got hired on the company, you thought you're going to get all the miles. Instead, you're just sitting around. And last one is for your lease operators. Say you leased a truck from a company, and this is from stories I hear on YouTube from Mother Trucker Official and other interviews. Say you leased a truck from a company, and when you finish doing all the payments, the truck is yours. You're the owner. You can do whatever you want with it. But in fine print, the paperwork says the company has the right to fire you anytime they want and take the truck from you. A lot of truck drivers or lease operators get butt hurt when they're about to make their last payment and the company fires them on the spot and they get to keep the truck. That's how companies, mega carriers, make money. You're about to pay off your truck, they fire you for some dumb reason, so you're without a job, and now they have your truck that you've been paying for, and they're just gonna go either sell it or lease it on to another driver and do the same thing over again. That's a huge lie. That's what I'll never ever lease truck purchase program on any mega carrier ever. I'd rather work my butt off and either buy the truck cash or go to a bank, get a loan, and then buy a truck, because bank will take it away if I can't make payments. Bank will not take it away if I'm making payments and working hard. Not canceled. Guys, I'm Eddie B. 2004 Turn right. This particular package, driving a temp in the 6 Series.